Welcome to the Manosphere Paradigm, the channel where we learn to level up in health, wealth, relationships, and hobbies. Guys, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as the notification bell so that you can be informed of content as I drop it on this channel on a weekly basis. And I'm pushing to increase that frequency to give you guys some more good content when it comes to discussions that we are having within the Manosphere. Today, I want to talk about 14, I would say 14 lies told by a Dr. Jenn Mann, and I'll get into it. It's called, an article that I want to cover is 14 subtle signs you're dating a misogyny. The problem is, in my opinion, and as I'm going through it, I can see a lot of gaslighting that's happening in this article, where this Dr. Jenn Mann is the one that I believe is peddling some lies when it comes to the points that she's bringing up. She's talking to a lady or giving a lady advice. But before we go into that, I wanted to check out who Dr. Jenn is so you guys have an idea as to who is the lady that has written this article. So it's Dr. Jenn Mann. Dr. Jenn Mann is a licensed marriage and family therapist and the relationship expert behind In Lifestyle long-running weekly column. What is that? Hump Day. She is best known for a hit VHI show Couples Therapy with Dr. Jenn and a popular call-in advice in Sirius XM radio show, The Dr. Jenn Show. She is best-selling author, most recently of The Relationship Fix. So, let's get into the 14 lies that Dr. Jenn is peddling. Let's get into the article, read through how she started off. In my opinion, when it comes to the Manosphere, as we have grown, as more and more content creators are coming on board, and basically empowering men with knowledge, empowering them with the knowledge that they know that other men is going through similar experiences. And as you feel that they are, at least as they are feeling, if they're feeling not alone, they basically are understanding, and we are starting to compare notes. It's been happening for years, and over the last couple of 3 years since the pandemic, there's been a lot of content that's been consumed, and the Manosphere itself has grown tremendously when it comes to the content that's being consumed and how content creators has been growing within the space. Now, a lot of people don't like what the Manosphere is saying because it is putting to light the negative things that the opposite sex gets into, and they tend to do certain things that is not beneficial and good for a relationship, for a long-term relationship. And when these things has been pointed out, their feelings is hurt, and the number one thing that they revert to is sign language, which is shame, insult, guilt tripping, and the need to be right. That is one of the things that here in the Manosphere we are very much aware of, and we tend to make sure that once we see it, that we call it for what it is. Now, in this article, Dr. Jenn, she's saying, I just introduced my new boyfriend to my friends for the first time, and they later told me they thought he was a misogynist. I feel like they are judging him for being a more traditional, conservative guy. I admit that sometimes he can make cringy jokes about women that are not politically correct, but I don't think he hates them. How do I know? Scared I'm dating a secret misogynist. Now, this is the lady writing to Dr. Jenn, and she is now responding to this lady. They are scared. They are obvious misogynists who are easy to identify. They are violent, blatantly degrading, and cruel towards women. These men reek of hostility towards women. You can spot them a mile away. Their behavior ranges from the mean to the downright criminal. Okay? If this were your boyfriend, you'd probably know it. But that doesn't mean he isn't one. Sorry. It's just that more subtle garden variety misogynists can be harder to spot. Now, with all of that being said, if I go back to what Dear Scared said, she is saying, I feel like they are judging him for being a more traditional conservative guy. Now, being a conservative and a traditionally conservative guy, there's nothing wrong with it, gentlemen. If you are a guy that is the way you conduct yourselves and that is your belief system, there's nothing wrong with believing that you are fulfilling a role, and your woman and your wife one day that you're going to connect with and build with should be someone that's bringing peace to your life, and you guys are basically building and working to it together in building a life. There's nothing wrong with thinking that way. And she immediately jumps into the misogynist explanation, and basically doing what a lot of these, I would call them womanists, do. They tend to do the technique which is called jamming. What they'll do is they'll talk about something, they'll highlight misogyny, and they, for instance, they highlighted in here the traditional conservative. So what she's doing is subliminally making you put together and jamming traditional conservative and misogynist in one kind of bracket, or in one, putting them together in one box. And when you think traditional conservative, you should probably now think misogynist, which is incorrect. And that is a lot of times what they are doing when it comes to things that they don't like. And when men are standing up for themselves and having preferences, they tend to start shaming and start jamming you with negative connotations, so that the first thing that you'll do is, instead of thinking logically, you're going to go into emotion and try to distance yourself from something or someone, because you have been fooled by this technique that they use called jamming. So if you go into what she says next, the first things first, what is misogyny? Put simply, misogyny is a typical and unconscious hatred of women. Now, that to me is, if you are saying that you are not a misogynist and that is not what you are, the way you believe, and you do not hate women, the first thing they'll go to is, you are unconsciously, the way you act and the way you think, you are a misogynist. That is the furthest thing from the truth, because if you have standards, again, you will be shamed when you say you don't want a woman that puts herself online and advertise herself online, although you have put in the commitment, you have married the woman and you are building a life with her, but she's the one that's constantly online showing her off and herself off as though she's advertising herself to the world. You know what? A lot of guys will say, I'm secure about that. You can be secure about it, but at the end of the day, it's not something you need to tell a woman to not do. She will automatically, if she is looking at you as the guy that she respects and she adores, she will not put you in a position to try and embarrass you. So this whole explanation that she goes further, at its core, it's about controlling and punishing women who violate patriarchal norms and expectations, or who aren't serving male interests. Now, that again, not all women want to be this boss babes, wanting to live this life of having careers, not going into marriage, not having children, living wonderful, lavish lives of traveling constantly. Not all women wants to do this, and a lot of women are the ones that's been conned by the womanist movement in believing that putting a career first is going to make them happy. That again is the furthest thing from the truth, because we are seeing a lot of women that has reached the age of 40 towards 50, and one of the studies is that they are the biggest demographic of society that is depressed and are using psychotropics. So, do not fall for the lie that women are selling you. In my critical experience, he says, their anger toward women comes from a rejection they have suffered at the hands of women. This wound often comes back to childhood, with rejection from their own mother being especially common. This is necessarily from an obvious abandonment. It can arise from an emotional unavailable mom, verbal abuse, physical abuse, or a mom who doesn't protect him from another person's abuse. So what that tells me is that we as men, when you go through certain traumatic type of experiences, when you are in the relationship and you get hurt and you get rejected, those things does hurt you and it leaves a mark that you have to heal from like anyone else. Now, if you've gone through rejection and you've gone through hurt and you have grown from that experience and if you use that experience as fuel to better your life, to go after your passions and pursue your dreams and to make yourself the best version or a man that you can be, and you basically from that experience have learned to basically push back and not allow certain things and certain women into your life because you understand you have a certain radar now to pick up red flags that you know is going to be a problem going down the road. So you having preferences, you having boundaries, there is nothing wrong with it. And this Jenn Mann is explaining, this Dr. Jenn Mann is explaining, she's laying this groundwork to start to completely fool you and to basically tell you, you know what, the way you're thinking that is old and outdated. But again, like I said, for you, if you want to be a traditional conservative guy and you want to conduct yourself that way and you're looking for a partner that follows in that path, then so be it. It's going to be a bit tough in today's society, but if that is what you want, then you have the right to make sure that you vet the woman you bring into your life, and then you make sure that she also prove herself to you that she is offering something and bringing bringing stability, bringing peace, and bringing her level of wanting to connect into your puzzle piece, and the two of you standing together and growing and building a life together. That is the one thing. So let's get into the first lie. I went off on a tangent a bit, but I wanted to explain the first, just understand how this whole article has been set up. And I don't think it's been done in a way that was honest. I think it was disingenuous. And the way she's playing dumb to a lot of things is it's something to be questioned. So she says again, misogynist behavior can also come from breakups or rejections in the early relationship that leave the lasting and unresolved wound. Yes, it leaves a wound, but then we as men, we build and we understand what we did wrong, how we conducted ourselves, and also what the other party did wrong and what their flaws is. We heal from the process, and like I said, we push ourselves and we throw ourselves into our projects, into our purpose, into our passions, and we build ourselves up from a physical standpoint, from a mental standpoint, and we grow past this experience and we use that as fuel to go into life and get better and be the best version of ourselves. So she says, so how do you identify a misogynist in the wild? Here are 14 lies to look out for. I'm going to continue to say 14 lies because I believe that she's disingenuous in this article, and I'll explain to you and prove to you why. So she says here, firstly, he objectifies women. So he views women as objects whose job is to be aesthetically pleasing to men. When they fail at this job, he is offended by their inability to please his eye. He likes to rate women on a scale of 1 to 10. He refers to women he finds unattractive in demeaning terms. She is such a. He will even criticize the looks and bodies of a young girl. Now, that whole spiel that she gave us there, he views women as objects whose job is to be aesthetically pleasing. Now, we as men, we are attracted by what we see. We all know this. It is nothing uncommon. It's nothing new. We are attracted by what we see. If we are not attracted, we will not go for that particular woman, or we will not reciprocate whatever interest she's showing towards us because it's not aesthetically pleasing and you are not going to want to do anything with that woman and you're going to reject her. The other thing she says is that he feels like he has to rate women on a scale of 1 to 10. Now, it's something that Kevin Samuels, shout out to him on his channel, he does because he wants women to get off that pedestal and that delusion that they have where they're always over what's the word for they over inflate their value to the marketplace. Now, they don't like that word because the women always like to think that their sexual marketplace value is evergreen, and it's not. We as men, we understand that our sexual marketplace value is not evergreen because I am not a tall guy, but I'm also not a very short guy. I'm average height, but I know if there's certain times in the past that I was rejected by a woman just because of my height. I didn't get mad at it or at her. I just understood, you know what, she doesn't want a short guy, and I had to live with it. Reversely, if you as a guy you don't like a certain type of body shape, a woman that's too big, then that is your prerogative because it's not something you like. You should not feel ashamed for wanting what you want because women tell men constantly that I don't want a broke guy, I don't want short guys. They are looking at you physically and also as a wallet. So why should you not have preferences? But when you do, it's an issue. So you see it, she goes further, says he will even criticize the looks and bodies of young girls. Again, we are all in the marketplace and we all look at each other where people look at each other from face value, and they always want to tell you that it is all about, the personality. But no one gets to know the personality unless they get past the fact that they look at the person and they like what they see and they take things further. So I wanted to go into a video from the channel called It's Complicated. That guy is doing some great work over there with some interviews on the street. And I wanted to just go through this one where on the first one, she was talking about he reviews women as, how can I say, what was he objectifies women. That's what she was saying. So let's go into this video and see what It's Complicated talks to the ladies about, and see how the conversation about how women in return objectify men and how that works.
Okay, why not just date a woman?
Because I'm not into that.
Attention.
Okay, so why do women date men?
Because they have a penis.
Okay.
Dick.
So if women want dick, how is that different than men sexually objectifying women?
Because
Yep. There we go.
women have more feelings. I mean, they do that, but there's feelings come behind it. Where men, they just
If women don't need men, why do women date men?
Dick.
Okay, how is that different than men objectifying women sexually?
Damn, that's a good ass question. I don't have an answer.
we
Exactly.
really can't provide nothing but pussy. At the end of the day, that's true.
Okay, so then how come when you ask a woman what she brings to the table, that's not her answer?
Because they're not being true to themselves.
Okay, interesting. All right.
Sometimes when you have certain women, you have the ones that's not gonna basically try to put up a front and try to basically look or project herself a certain way. She's gonna be honest. She's going to be raw, and I think this lady is definitely one of them that is honest and truthful about the questions she's being asked, and not trying to put herself in a certain light that makes her look better. She's going to say it the way it is, and sometimes that's very much appreciated because you will hear the truth and the way they really feel, and that's always a good thing because honesty is the best policy. So let's go further.
So why do women complain about being sexually objectified when you think that the JJ is pretty much all they're bringing?
That's a good question. Wow. Next question, Steven.
You don't have an answer? Okay.
Oh, wow.
All right. Do you think a woman's body count matters in dating?
No.
Well,
Even the chickie with the purple hair, she was like in the beginning like no. She was like, don't say too much or don't sisterhood. But when she started listening to his questions and the way he's framing it and asking them to give their opinion, when they started logically thinking through it, they're like, you know what, damn, I never thought about it that way. So this is a good way, the way he's framing these questions and taking them on this line of questioning basically is or at least is a good way of them understanding, you know what, how you look at things from a emotional standpoint and wanting to look good all the time, opposed to understanding what the truth is and looking at things from a logical standpoint.
Yes. Okay. When guys look at it, yes, because for females to have sex, we have to give them consent, right?
Yes.
Okay. So when a guy has sex with a female, it's he scored basically.
Okay, so it's
Exactly. So when it comes to this Jenn Mann and her 14 lies, when it comes to the 14 lies that she is telling and the 14 lies that she is teaching women, she is talking to this lady, trying to give her a explanation or trying to give her the signs that she has to look out for. But a lot of the signs that she is saying and the way she's framing it is to almost like it's something negative. And like I said, that jamming technique that's being constantly being used for people to put people in certain boxes and put a negative connotations to that. That is always a dangerous thing because it doesn't allow people to use their logical minds, or at least the logical part of their thinking, and going through something and understanding something based on the way they are reasoning through it and understanding the facts, and not getting emotionally charged when certain buzzwords are used and people are being put into certain boxes and certain names is being dropped and certain names is being tagged to some people. So I wanted to go into this video so that you guys can have a look at and start. I'll start off the series with the 14 lies that Jenn Mann is teaching women, and the 14 lies that men, you should not feel ashamed for having preferences. That was the first one, and I'll definitely see you guys in the next one. Much. So guys, I want you to check out 10 videos, drop 10 likes, even more if you want to, but I want you to drop 10 comments on those 10 videos that you're watching and checking out and trying to see what I am discussing on the Manosphere paradigm. I'd appreciate your support. Drop those likes, drop those comments, and I'm going to be sending you a t-shirt to show my appreciation for coming to the channel and showing your love. So thank you, and I'll see you in the next vid. Cheers.